Hello everyone, I'm Debbie Polachek. I am a Stampin' Up demonstrator. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be making another pop-up card for Mother's Day, but this one I fixed it for a sister on Mother's Day. The reason I did that was because of the stamp set that I had gotten. I got the stamp set called Beautiful Moments, and I love these. This little lady here standing here, and these two children walking around with their little pails. And so I made a beach scene with using these stamps, along with the some of the stamps from this stamp selling home. And I used the water stamp set from this one called High Tide. So it's just different parts of different stamp sets that I had used. So anyway, let's get started. Okay, we're going to start off by cutting some cardstock. Here that is 5 1/4 by 10 3/4, and I scored it at 4 1/8. I also made a mark. The top of the card, I'll have it a spot marked at 1 inch and 2 inch. Okay, another thing I did to prepare for this, I cut 2 pieces of cardstock that's 8 1/2 by 3 1/2, and I scored it at 4 1/4. Got 2 of those. I have embossed, black heat emboss some. I used the birds from this set because I'm going to use the sailboat from this set. So I'm going to use the bird from this set, and the sailboat and the birds are going to be in the same area. So I heat embossed it with black on window sheet 2 times. Yeah. I did make a mark at 1/4 inch from the open end on each of these pieces. Cutting board, and put this at the cutting part and this at that 1/4 inch mark. And I'm going to cut both of those right there. Again, the open end at 0, or right where it cuts, and this at the 1/4 inch mark. Cut. The size I just cut. And put that towards it, and put it, score it at a 1/2 inch down. And make on the inside and the outside of where I just cut, just little wedges out of each one of these. First of all, I'm going to start off by stamping the lady image on a scrap piece of cardstock, just so she fits on there. And I'm going to want this to be scored at right below where the grass ends. And move that score up line about a 1/2 inch. This doesn't have to be exact. It's just that you want some there to glue later. Glue that and cut that. Then I'm going to take my snips and go ahead and angle this a bit. And that's ready to color. Now on this one, I'm going to take our little girls, and I'm going to put them, move it over about a 1/2 inch, and the bottom of it's about a 1/4 to a 1/2 inch away from the bottom of that score line, and stamp that there. Now I'm going to take a scrap piece of paper. There's a scrap piece of wedge, and I'm going to use that as a mask to do a horizon line on each side of the little girls. I want to do it at about their waistline. I'm not going to worry about in between them because I don't think that's enough to even show. Okay. These are sand dunes here. They could be mountains or sand dunes, I'm sure. Mountains in the background would be nice for this stamp as well. See, it's on the stamp set. With this stamp set, just the water lines. Now, if you don't have this stamp set, I'm sure you could just draw in some water lines. It's not that difficult. And I'm going to stamp this, not in black, but in Pacific Point. Will do. Okay. I'm just going to go across here. Time after time again. Just make one wave after another. Like maybe the seaside spray. And I'm going to use my cosmetic brush to do this, just because it's much faster. Maybe a little bit of the Pacific Point. On the outside edges of this. Something like that. I want it to be kind of lighter in the center there. I'll go ahead and leave this out, and I'm going to stamp again, this time with the small sailboat. And the Sailing Home set, the small one. Really want to try to do my horizon again. But in order to do my horizon again, I'm going to have to cut it back a little bit shorter. But I want to try doing it with something like Rich Razzleberry. And the reason I want to do that is because as when you look into distance, the further away the colors change. Hopefully I can say this better than I did in the video. What I wanted to say is when you're trying to show distance, you have more color in your foreground than you do in the background. For instance, you can see all colors like red, yellow, blue, purple, green, all the colors when it's real close to you. But as it goes back into the distance, the yellow starts leaving first, and then the reds start leaving. Then you're only left with blues. So that's why when you see things in the background, like mountains are usually blue, and as you comes up closer and closer to you, the colors start getting more vivid and brighter. I'm going to use purple here and the blue in the distance. Now, choices had it, I would have had this a little bit lighter here, but I'm trying to get all this off I can. And probably try to cover up some of this too while I'm doing it. I think I'm going to take this and sponge this around Mom too, the same color. Rich raspberry. Use a little of that too in the background. Let's start coloring. Now, what I need to do next is to cut what they call a mussel. A mussel is something that's going to be lifting this away from this, so when the card bends down, they'll both fold together. And so how I'll do that, and I probably want it only about a ½ inch away from the maul. So I'm going to cut a ½ inch strip here. Probably just need one of them. And score it 1/2, 1 inch, 1/2, 1 inch, 1/2 an inch, 2, and then I'll cut it at 2 1/2. Now I'll use a little daub of glue. And just glue that so it forms a square like that. Bend it back and forth. I'm going to take one part of that. Don't really matter which end you glue down, just glue half of it to the bottom of her. And let that dry like that. This is going to be going here, so we're going to have some more sand all through here. So I'll take my same tool here and get my Sahara sand back out. And go ahead and put that Sahara sand all through here. I think I'm going to make another mark here. This is at 2 inches here. This is where we're going to glue it. And I think I'm going to glue the an inch and 1/8. So I'm going to make a mark 1 1/8 here and 1 1/8 here. So now I'm going to take this and have this at the 2 inch mark from here, and 1/8 and 1 inch from here. I'm going to put this one here. So, and this needs to be right at each other's fold line. Now, as you notice, this is not straight here. It doesn't need to be. Just this needs to be right into the corner or right into the fold. This fold meets this fold, and this, and at the 2 inch mark, and this needs to fold at the 1 and 1/8 inch mark. So now I'm going to stick glue here. Glue it pretty good. All on the edges, real good. Thin, but everywhere. Now I'm going to take this one and do the same thing. I'm going to put glue all over here. Glue oozing out everywhere. Now I'm going to take this. Here's my bone folder. Got so much stuff on my desk. Just press that in real good. Press that in real good. What we do there Let's just trim this off. Now, stand up like this. Now I'm going to glue Mom right here. I'm going to glue her on the bottom and right there, so she'll stick to, yeah, in between here too. In between here on the bottom. And I'm going to position her away from the fold. I don't want her to be hitting in the fold. And glue it flat down to that point. Now I'm going to glue this just in that area and shut it down. So anyway, let's continue for right now with our stamping. And I'm going to get a little block. Again, I'm going to stamp these little I think I want to make it look like a pattern or pattern paper. So what I'm going to do is kind of angle, kind of going up this way and that way in between, just sort of like you would if you were trying to make you were putting a piece of paper down here. And the color I'm going to use black. If I were doing this and I knew what I was doing, I would have done that before, but I didn't know exactly how I was going to do that, so that's why I did it second. But if you were to do it, I would start with that before you started gluing all this stuff down. And you do want to start with the one that's closest to you when you're doing this double layer of this, because if you don't, then this will be in your way when you do the second one. Okay, and I think by looking at this that I do want to knock the horizon down about a ½ inch, so I'm going to take a ½ inch straight off of here. And again, I'm going to go this to the back. Now there is going to be some of this card showing, so if you wanted to put some sponge, some blue or the sand color in here, go do that. I think I'll go ahead and do that too. I mean, this, what is it? Soft suede is a little bit golder than the Sahara sand. It's got a little bit more green in the Sahara sand. I think I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit in the foreground too. Get that darker like I want it. Darker, go lighter as it goes back. Darker on the edge. Okay. Now to glue this final one on. Okay, basically we're going to do the same thing. We're going to put all the glue here. But this time at the 2-inch mark, we're going to put it at the 1-inch mark. And put it in the corner like before. Score mark to score mark. Going to go all the way down. So this lip is right at the bottom of the card. Now take this one. Do the same thing. We're going to put this right here. Bone folder. This time, instead of cutting both of these at one time, I'm going to cut it one at a time. Now we're getting our little scene together here. Now, I think I can tell where I want to put my sailboat. I think I want to put it right in between, right on the fold line right there. Keeps the eye in the middle. And a little bit of glue. Just on the bottom. Okay, getting ready to put the card together. As you can see, I went ahead and stamped again with Memento the same little flowers I did on like on the inside. Went all over it with the Sahara sand. Now I'm going on the edges with the crumb cake. Just giving it a shadow on the outside edges, stronger than the inside. And I did use some of the light purple. I can't remember if I used dark heather last time or on these little flowers here. Looks like I used something else. Oh, I think I used that pink, but any of those purples would work. And the old olive light on the leaves, just made little brush strokes. Flicked them in real fast. Took the bullet in and just did this flicking thing to make the leaves greener. Okay, now also cut some black cardstock for my card base. It's 5.5 by 8.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4 on the long side. Also took some sentiments I made up. Well, some of these I got like off the internet. Parts of it was from the internet, but I changed it to fit the situation. And this is for the outside of the card, and this is for the inside of the card, and this is a little place just for its sign. And I think I told you before, I really like this little guillotine cutter for cutting these little sentiments apart. You just hold your little you just hold the edge down, this thing down, and the reverse swipe. Start off by gluing the inside down. Oh, on my window sheet seagulls up here, I had to end up moving this one out because it bent it up when it went down to fold. Even though it wasn't quite in half, it still got caught in here, and then when I bone folded it, it bended it, and it looked kind of weird, so I just cut it apart and put it here so it wouldn't be in the way. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and glue. Put it in the fold line. Center it as best I can. The side the same way. Okay. Then we're going to put this panel on the front. I wrote for my sister on this special day. Now a sweet little heart or butterfly would be cute there. Just do this one right here. I'll put a few pearls in there. Let's have it blind towards that direction. that's our card. Now all we have to do is make a black envelope and we got it. Or a white one. Thank you. Hope you liked the card. Bye-bye.